It's your final lesson.
What the hell are these?
It's just like laser tag.
They're timers.
We're in the middle of the woods with bombs strapped to our chest.
Get this thing off of me! What happens when these timers hit zero, huh?
He didn't tell you the rules.
What rules, Bobby? We can steal each other's time to stay alive.
So the more you kill, the more time you get.
He has something behind his back.
He gave this to me because I've got the least amount of time. I'm sorry.
PJ, come on! This is not how best friends treat each other!
We are not friends. Someone said.
People are playing the game.
Why are you doing this? I can't even eat gluten. Trust me, I'm not going to be able to kill anyone.
Wow. So, this movie was... I went to the IMDb to pretty much look to see what they were talking about on this one. And overall, it's a pretty good film. I don't want to give it away as far as, you know, spoiler alert. I mean, some people probably already have seen it, so maybe. I don't know. But for the most part, for me, the IMDb user critics were all like, oh, well, the teens running around, the editing and the focus or the direction of the camera, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, this is a B movie. I mean, just be honest, it's a B movie. And for me, I'm a lover of B movies, especially B horror movies. Those are my favorites, because it's all about just looking at the movie and enjoying it for the entertainment purpose. I'm not looking at the film and watching to see how the editing was done or how the film direction took place and who was doing what with what camera. Who cares? So a lot of the user critics were like, oh, a bunch of teens running around, and I'm like, the movie literally comes off letting you know that the premise of the movie is that these were teenagers and they are now suffering for something that they did as teenagers. They are now grown ass people. So I'm like, okay, so I was like, I'm still gonna watch it anyways. And I did, and I pretty much, it's a watchable film, and it was good to watch. I mean, it's a B movie. I mean, you get what you pay for. It's, you know, and I feel like it had a point. There was some clarity in the movie. My favorite was watching the so-called wannabe Patrick Bateman get his just deserve. That was my highlight of the movie because he literally irked my nerves. I understand that you want to play the game or whatever, but I mean, there were some ways that they could have went about doing it. And then one user critic was like, they could have tried to remote the trigger or something, remote it or whatever they were talking about. I'm like, they literally put that in the movie. They couldn't bypass whatever Mr. Peterson, aka the old science teacher, did when he triggered these suicide bombs that he placed on these teenagers because of something that they did to Caleb, who was his son, I suspect. And of course I'm saying suspect, even though I just watched it. But I believe that he said it was his son. Don't quote me on it because I wasn't paying that much of attention to that part. But I just know that he was doing it to act on revenge or whatever. Even though one of the characters asked him, he said, is this about Caleb? And he made it seem like it wasn't about Caleb. However, it's about Caleb. I mean, because what would have made you do this if it wasn't something that happened to Caleb in the first place? Okay, whatever. So as you're watching it, I'm intrigued to know who actually murdered Caleb, because to me, Caleb is the point of this particular story, and it is the reason why they are all there with this suicide bomb triggered on all of them. And I think for me, it was a good concept as far as the film to watch. I believe that the characters were good. I don't believe that they were very disappointing or very bad acting, as some of the user critics were saying on IMDb. And I'm like, what do you expect out of a B movie? And to be honest, I've seen way worse. I've seen way worse trailers than this. And when I try to look at the movie, I mean, just awful. And the directing is awful. The film is awful. The acting is awful. This movie passes all of those with the check. Okay. And I would definitely rate it a B overall. I mean, it's watchable. And I think that most people would be entertained watching the movie, and they will not be that disappointed. I mean, you watch the movie, you see what the movie is about. People who come together and they wake up with suicide bombs attached to them and they have to survive. Okay, I mean, that's what the movie is about. You watch it, you like it or don't. Now, sometimes during the movie, when I say go back to bad acting, sometimes when I'm watching it, I cringe a little bit, but it's not all throughout the entire movie. When I say I cringe, some of the acting, you're like, he couldn't pull, he didn't pull that one off. But it's not through the whole movie. So, and it's pretty, I mean, the characters, and generally when you're watching a horror movie, especially a B horror movie, the characters are not set up for you to really like them. They're set up for you to watch them die. That's the point. And we need people to die in this movie. So if we don't care if people like you, we're not focused on whether or not that the character is likable, basically. And in this particular situation, sometimes you may care, you may start liking a character who survives a little bit longer, or who kind of takes the movie and make their status quo known. So then you start to maybe like them and you want to continue watching them to end, or you might want to see them make it to the end, and they may not, and you have to move on to the next character that you may not like as much. But yes, that is I mean, overall it's a watchable movie. I would rate it a B. I did rate it 7 stars out of 10 on IMDb, and I did provide my own quote there, or user review. So I will be a part of them. And not that I'm coming after some of the critics, but generally I do still watch a movie based on the critics or the critiques, just to see if I would be in agreement with them or not. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. This one, however, was overall pretty decent. So